guys. All right, cool. So we've been trying to catch everybody in the chat as we go along. How are you guys doing tonight? I know it's well, here in California, it was actually a really pretty day. There was like no long.
Got it.
Oh, see, it like delays. So I've been talking for like 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden it pops up over here, and then I can hear myself, and then it's all crazy. No, he caught it this time. Anyways, okay. So I'm going through the chats simultaneously, talking to you guys. So tonight we're going to be talking about the tips and tricks that have really helped us, and we've been able to help others in learning sign language faster. And a lot of times that's what we want. You know, we're like, I'm going too slow, or I want to learn it by this time, or I want to do it quick. Well, we have some tips and tricks to really help you guys with that. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. And we do have a giveaway tonight. We have a workshop that's happening next Friday at 5:00 p.m. Pacific time, and whatever time that is, wherever you are. I'm not good at that. And that workshop is going to be about stepping out of your comfort zone. A lot of times we get stuck in a rut, and that's because we're stuck in our own little comfort zone and we don't know how to break free from that. So we're going to talk about how to break out of our comfort zone and really expand our language and our knowledge in the language. So super excited about that. But my point with that was the giveaway tonight was we're giving away 5 free slots. I guess it's slots. Whatever. Would it be slots? Anyways, free
or spots,
whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. To that workshop. So that's going to be Friday, January 29th at 5 p.m. Pacific. But the way we're going to give those away is not going to be like how we normally do, where it's just like a random drawing. No. We're going to be doing a finger spelling challenge. Crazy, right? When he first told me that, I'm like, how are we going to do that? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Every 10 minutes or so, we're gonna give you guys a heads up. Be like, okay, here's the next finger spelling challenge. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to finger spell a name to you. And the first person who gets it right and drops it in the chat wins that one of the 5 slots. Spots. I like slots. Slots is my word. I'm using the word. But anyways. Let's see. April says the workshop in the ASL basics.
Down here?
Yeah.
So if you don't know, every month we will hold a workshop for all of our VIP members. And so that's free if you already are a supporter in VIP. So we have that program on YouTube and also on Patreon, and also through our Beyond the Basics program. So if you're already signed up for any of that, then that workshop is already free for you. If you're not, then you can go ahead and do the finger spelling challenge. And if you get that name right and you're the first one, then you'll be able to go for free.
So a lot of people are like a little bit scared right now. I'm seeing it in the chat. They're saying, wait, I'm bad at finger spelling. I'm not good at it. How do I get better? Okay, wait. So the reason why I'm gonna do it first is because I like lightning. I'm just, I'm gonna throw a name out there. And it's mainly just to kind of like challenge everybody. But Chris is going to be doing the finger spelling. He has all the names and everything. I'm going to do it once, just like as a lightning round, just to see how everybody does. But he's going to do it. And it won't be easy, but it's not going to be complicated like what I'm going to do. So we are going to go over some tips and tricks about improving your finger spelling, your receptivity.
Mm-hmm. Receptive skills.
Yeah, just thinking about my word. And how to improve on that. Because a lot of times what happens, and I've said this many times before, but a lot of times, like we're going to finger spell, people are like, gosh, why am I not getting this? Why am I not seeing it? Why can't my brain make this connection with this word? There's a few reasons for that. Some of them, it's because when we practice finger spelling like this, but we're looking at it from this perspective. We're not looking at it from this perspective when it's being produced to us. So what happens is our brain gets used to seeing letters and finger spelling from here. But when somebody does it at you, your brain can't compute what just happened because it's from a different perspective. So one of the tips and tricks that we tell people is to, one, practice finger spelling in a mirror. What that's going to do, you can have you can print out like 20 words, tape it onto the mirror in your bathroom, and practice finger spelling in the mirror. And that's going to help your brain make that connection of somebody producing that to you. Or you can record yourself practicing, finger spelling. That helps you for two reasons. One, with your receptive, but two, when you go back and rewatch that, you're going to see how clear you are when it comes to finger spelling. A lot of times we think, I'm doing pretty good. And then we watch ourselves and we're like, oh, I need to improve on that. I'm not as clear as I thought. Speed comes with time. I know a lot of times people associate speed with skill. Like, in order for me to be a skilled signer, I have to sign lightning fast, or I have to finger spell lightning fast. That's not true. Clarity equals skill. Speed comes with time, but it's not necessarily a make or break when it comes to being skilled. I've seen people who sign 1,000 miles an hour. I mean, they are like, I don't understand a word they just said. You could be the best signer in the world, but if you're signing so fast that nobody understands you, it don't matter, So I always tell people speed isn't really what's important. It's your clarity. How clear are you when you sign? That's what's the most important. And speed will come with time, but it doesn't have to be a priority. And yes, Mark says we can always ask the signer. There it is. He moved it. We can always ask the signer to do it over slowly. Yes, you can ask them like, hey, I'm so sorry, I missed it. Can you do it again? I'm an interpreter, and there's times where my clients will go, and I'm like, wow. And I'm like, can you do it again? A little bit slower. And so they, oh, okay. And then they'll finger spell a little bit slower. It's fine. Feel free to ask. Be like, I'm so sorry. Do you mind doing it again? It's not rude, because it's better to understand instead of pretending you understand and then you really don't understand. That's rude. And you'll get caught. You'll get caught real quick doing it. Don't do that. So definitely feel free to be like, whoa, I'm so sorry, I didn't understand. Can you do it again? And that's really going to help with your understanding. And, just practice that finger spelling clarity, not speed. Speed will come in time. I'm trying to, does it matter if you use your left or right hand? So whatever your dominant hand is, if you're naturally right-handed, you're going to finger spell right-handed. If you're naturally left-handed, you're going to finger spell left-handed. I can do both simultaneously. And I do that as a practice. It was like my own personal thing that I wanted to be able to do just in case, because I do interpret. If I'm right-handed, if I broke my wrist, I would like to still be able to like produce on the other side. So it's okay to be able to do it both, but most of the time it's if you're right hand dominant, you're going to finger spell that way. Left hand dominant, they'll finger spell that way as well. I do have somebody who asked, how do you sign morning, noon, and night? Okay.
I did see that one.
It's right. There it is. How do you sign morning, noon, and night? So imagine that your arm is the horizon. So this is your non-dominant hand. So this is my left. Your dominant hand is the sun. Morning, the sun comes up. So it would just come up. Morning. Morning. Noon, again, here's the horizon. The sun is at the top. Noon. And then night, the sun is down. So you have morning, noon, night. You have evening too. Like it'll venture, like noon, mid-afternoon, evening, night, where the sun is completely gone.
Or like midnight.
Oh yeah, midnight. Oh, rats. I'm doing it backwards. Midnight. Yeah. So kind of think of that. You have your non-dominant hand as the horizon, and then your dominant hand as the sun, portraying where it is in the sky. I have somebody who asked, is morning the same sign as breakfast. Now, I've seen two different ways to sign breakfast. I've seen morning food, and I've also seen with a B, breakfast. Breakfast. So it just kind of depends. Your area, how it's signed. Let's see. I'm trying to go through.
Okay, so this is actually a good one right here. How do I get faster at fingerspelling? I feel like when I do it fast, it gets messy. That's kind of what you're talking about.
And yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about too, because sometimes when we're fingerspelling, it does look messy. And I'm going to tell you something. Some people cheat when they fingerspell. This was the one I was going to throw at you guys for the giveaway, but I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to fingerspell something to you right now, and I'm going to tell you something about it's not right. But I want you to tell me if you understand what I'm going to fingerspell to you.
I don't know.
Yeah. I cheated fingerspelling this name because I didn't put every letter in that name. The word I got some people who have it. Good. John.
Okay. Looks like the first person to get
that was not the giveaway.
Oh,
one.
that's not?
No, that was an example.
Okay, that was
I didn't want to do that. I'm not going to do that to you. That was mean. But I'm making a point with it, is to show you guys that sometimes when you fingerspell, people cheat. I cheated right now. When I fingerspelled John, I went J in. I negated the O. I went J. There's kind of an H that went up into an N. John. Crazy, right? Some people cheat. There's another name. It's not part of the giveaway, I swear to God. Anybody know? Ooh, right? I know. You're like, that's a made-up word. That's not even a word. I don't even know what you're doing. You're like, fiddle farting with it. Yeah, I've seen people do it. I do it when I fingerspell this word or this name. Good for you. Joyce, good job. Yes. Peter. PTR. Peter. PTR. That's how I fingerspell Peter just now. Peter. Instead of going so now I gotta think how you spell it. Peter. I went Peter, just PTR. That is you'll see people do that. They'll negate certain letters to figure it out. So sometimes, like how you were saying, when I sign super fast, it gets sloppy because we'll end up negating letters. I did on purpose just now. I did. I swear to God, that was all intentional. But sometimes I do it that way. I'll throw myself out there. I do. So that's why we have to take our time because, again, clarity. Some people thought when I did this, I was signing jet. I saw. Other people were saying I was signing different things, So sometimes, see, like, it can mess up, confuse. What did you just do? Clarity is important. Now, for the first fingerspelling, this is where he does it. He's a lot clearer than I am. I'll just like out there. So I'm going to go ahead and have you pick the name. You guys ready? Now we're going to do the first of the 5 giveaways names.
Okay.
Not good at that.
Okay, let's do this one.
Ready? Here we go.
Okay, I'll do that again. And I'll do it one more time. Oh, I think I saw somebody get it.
Yep, right there. Adam. Good job, Adam. Yes. Debbie. Oh, wonderful.
And
oh, man. Absolutely. Good job, guys.
Good job, everybody.
Yep.
We got a lot of them.
Debbie.
All right, so
Debbie
who was the first one here?
It was, no, he's up here. I can see him over here.
Let's see here. Scrolling.
Right there.
Adam. Okay, let me see if I can highlight your name really quick. So we know you're here. So go ahead and send me an email and let me know, and then I'll go ahead and give you the Zoom link and the password for that workshop that we're holding next. It is next Friday, yeah?
It is.
Yeah, next Friday, the 29th at 5 o'clock Pacific time.
Here it is. So go ahead and send him an email at chris@aslbasics.com. So that's the first of the 5. Very cool. Good job, guys.
Congrats,
okay.
Adam.
So let's go back because I'm missing like a bunch of I second guess myself. Yeah.
Somebody was asking how to sign 18 really quick.
Oh.
I like to cover this just because there's so many variations. This is kind of the casual way, 18. But the more like proper way is 10-8. And then there's itchy fingers or violin fingers for 18. So there's a few different variations to that. But there you have it. And that holds true for the 16, 17, 18, and 19. So 16, 17, 18, 19, or 10-6, 10-7, 10-8, 10-9, or you can do the itchy fingers all the way.
I'll tell you, I've been doing this a long time. I don't do this. This one I never really do unless I'm interpreting and doing like a discourse where I've got a big audience.
Which one? Itchy?
No. 10-6, 10-8, 10, you know, that one.
Yeah, normally that's for like years.
Yeah, or if I'm doing it and I want to make sure I'm being very clear and I've got an audience, and so some people are far away, that I'm very clear. 10-6, that is 16, and they all know it. I have never done the itchy fingers. I've never, ever done it, but I've seen people do it, and it throws me off for like a second, and I'm like, what? Oh, right, you know. But yeah, it's one of those.
Not a lot will use it. I really only know one, like a deaf ASL teacher that will do the itchy fingers.
I hate that term. Don't call it that. It's weird. It's actually gross. I don't like it. Don't do that. Don't say that. I prefer the violin fingers.
Yeah. Well, that's how Bill refers to it.
What, itchy fingers?
Itchy fingers, yeah.
Now I'm all itchy. Thank you for that. What are the sign names for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? I honestly have no idea.
I'm glad somebody said that.
I have no idea.
One of the YouTube channels that we recommend is the Daily Moth, M-O-T-H. And they're a deaf news channel. But anyways, they had an entire video about that. And so there is not yet a sign name for Kamala Harris. And they kind of go into the reasons why. And because, you know, sign names are a very cultural thing. And so it takes a little time to observe that person and to really understand. Sorry, the phone was glitching out a little bit. So anyways, it takes a little while to kind of study them and to pick something that fits their personality or their character or physical feature or something of that line. And so usually for like people that are of like
keep going.
So for, you know, like celebrities or famous people, like sometimes it takes a little while for that to happen. So anyway, so Kamala Harris, they were saying like they're encouraging those to have a discussion, and they actually created this Google form where you can go in and kind of submit your suggestions, and they're recommending that like somebody that is either Black or Indian descent and deaf to have those recommendations, and because that's just like the most culturally appropriate way to kind of give that sign name. But it's always this ongoing discussion, and sometimes it takes not that long, and sometimes it can take years for sign names to develop, and sometimes those sign names may change over time. But yeah, that's definitely a good video to check out, and a good channel to subscribe to, Daily Moth, and it can be a good way to kind of build up your exposure to the language and kind of build up your vocabulary. They have closed captions as well, so that can be really a good way to kind of keep your language up to date. Even for interpreters or those that do this professionally, it's a good way to stay up to date.
Okay, there's like
okay, did you see anything that...
I'm trying to what? I'm trying. Sorry, guys. I'm like going through all your. It just like blew up.
Oh, that was only a matter of time.
All right, read those. Okay. I gotta plug something in.
They plugged out her light.
I plugged my light. That was rude.
When you sign certain species, do you fingerspell them, or do you do the main species? Example, the sign for cat or tiger. That's an interesting one. So for specific species, usually, let me go take that down. Usually they're fingerspelled if you want to be very specific, because cat could fall under a lot of different subspecies. And so if you wanted to get really detailed and specific, then you would probably want to fingerspell the specific species. And this happens a lot in like biology class or in life sciences. And, you know, you have kind of this overarching general sign for the subject, but then you have a lot of fingerspelling for those that are a little bit more specific and may not have signs yet. Okay.
If someone has more
oh, that's a good one. Real quick, if somebody has more vocab than you, how do you ask what it means? So just pause them and say, hey, what does this sign mean? Mm-hmm. And if you didn't catch it, or if you saw what that sign was, maybe repeat it back to them, like, hey, like this sign, what does it mean? And so this is kind of going to be a very important sign to learn early on. Like, hey, what do you mean?
It's really good. Like me, I'll sometimes do that with my clients, because sometimes they have a specific sign for a specific sign for something, and I've never seen that, and they'll boop, and I'm like, well, wait, what does that mean? Do it again. What? And then it kind of helps expand my vocabulary too. So it's always good. Like if they do something and you're like, what was that? Ask. Feel free to ask and be like, what was that? And then.
Uh-oh, she fell down. Oh, poor baby.
What happened?
Okay, so just going through the comments again. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and go on to one of our kind of tips. And one of the most important things to remember is when you're learning a new language, it's hard, but to be okay with not being perfect. And that perfection can oftentimes kind of hold us back from making that progress. So particularly like when we overwhelm ourselves with maybe too much information, or if we go to have a conversation with somebody and we are overthinking it. Maybe we're just learning the grammar, and we're in our heads, we have this sentence that we want to convey or we want to sign. But we get caught in the trap of like, okay, what's the word for I? What's the word for want? What's the word for to? What's the word for this? And we kind of go through that process, and maybe we don't have 100% of the signs in that sentence. Maybe we only have, 5 or 6 out of 8 words that we want to use. And so because we don't know all of it, we won't sign any of it. That was kind of a roadblock for me when I first started learning sign language, was if I didn't know the entire sentence that I wanted to sign, I just wouldn't sign any of it. And so that really was a hard thing for me to kind of accept, is to be okay with that imperfection and be okay with not knowing every single sign for a sentence. And overthinking things too. Grammar is something that most of us learn early on, especially if we're taking it in a formal class. And, we're learning the topicalization, we're learning topic comment, and we're learning all of these different things about subject and objects and verbs. And maybe we have this big chart and we have a sentence and we need to kind of place the subject here and place that there. And so we start doing that mentally, and it can be really overwhelming. And so one of the things that it can really help us is to just step outside of our comfort zone and really just kind of go for it. And if we'll be corrected along the way, and it can be hard to accept the truth that mistakes are our best teachers. And so if we're unwilling to make mistakes and we kind of demand perfection from ourselves, then it's going to be really difficult, if not impossible, to become fluent in that target language that we're learning. So let's see here. Yeah, Johnny had to step out and help out Paige. She's okay right now, but she fell down, and and she's actually giggling in the background right now. Okay, so let's see here. We're at the 24-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and do our second name. And so this is going to be a little faster, and it's going to be, let's see here. Let's do one that is 5 letters long. Okay, you ready? Okay, so go ahead and type that name in the comments, and for the first one, then we'll go ahead and do that giveaway for you as well. Again, if you missed it the first time. Okay, wow. A lot of people got it that time. Excellent. Good job. Reed and Victoria and Tichelles and Melissa and Zakira and VANP, Mark and Sadie and Deb and Joyce and Nikina, Marcia, Squidney, Yuri. Wow, you guys are doing great. So I'm just looking back and seeing who the first one was. So let's see here. Looks like the first one to get it was Free the 27. So congratulations. So go ahead and send me an email at chris@aslbasics.com. And I'll go ahead and send you that Zoom link and password as well for the workshop that we'll be holding next Friday at 5 p.m.
Love you too. Bye.
Okay. You coming back?
Yes.
Poor baby.
Except I don't think the drama's over.
Oh.
I'm throwing a fit. Look, I'm covered in tears and snot. Well, now she's throwing a fit. So.
Oh boy. Okay. So one of the things that I kind of wanted to touch on too was just being patient with ourselves. Is that something that you wanted to talk about? Because sometimes
I'm lost. I left and now I'm out of the flow.
Okay.
What are we doing?
If you want, you can just go ahead and interpret for me as I go through it.
Helps me get back in the flow. All right.
So one of the things that can be really difficult about learning any new language is to be patient with ourselves, and particularly because learning a new language is a long process. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but it can be really overwhelming at first because there's so much that we don't know. And it seems like the more we learn, the more we figure out, the more we need to learn, and the more we don't know. So one of the things is to really be patient with ourselves and compare ourselves to our previous selves. This is something that can be a trap when we're learning maybe in a cohort, or maybe learning in a classroom, or maybe we have a group of friends and we all start learning at the same time. And we just have this natural tendency of comparing our progress to other people. And, maybe I've been learning for 6 months and that person's been learning for 6 months and they're so conversational and they don't seem to be working as hard, or this and that. And that can be really discouraging. And it's going to want me to feel like I'm just going to give up because I'm not making the progress. What's the point? So one of the things that really helps with that is, one, to kind of keep track of your progress. In the beginning, it can be really easy. It can be keeping track of all the signs that you've learned and maybe the conversations that you've had. That can go a long way. And really don't necessarily look just back to how I was last week, but maybe look how far you've come in several months. How much progress have I personally made in a year? Right? If you've been learning for a year or a year and a half and you look back to when you first started, and that progress is huge. And especially when you get to a certain point, you lose track of how many signs you know. And in the beginning, that progress is really clear. Oh, I know 100 signs. I know 200 signs. I know 300 signs. And then you start losing track. And, that's a huge jump from going from 0 to a few hundred. But then we get into the thousands, and maybe you learn 2,000 signs and you learn another 100. It's hard to tell the difference because 2,000 to 2,100 isn't that big of a jump, comparatively speaking. And so just be cognizant that as long as you're doing it every day, and as long as you're practicing, and as long as you're having those conversations, you are having that progress. And sometimes it's just we have to pause for a moment and see that progress in ourselves. Okay, just going over. Which one did you see? Really quick, early. Early. Do you have a story about that?
No, it's not really a story. It's just a warning. So, okay. Remember how we did the sign for, not my experience, morning, noon, and night, how we talked about the horizon? The same thing for the sign early. Your fist is that horizon. Your finger is the sun early, and it's going over that horizon. Okay? Not to be confused with something that's very similar if you do that sign wrong, which if you go down instead of across. Down means naked. I have a friend who made that mistake. It was hysterical. But naked goes across. Early goes over. So try not to get those confused. It's easy to do. That's why I brought it up, because it happens. It happened to my friend. I laughed for a while out loud because it was funny. She didn't think so. I did. But yeah. So don't get those two confused, because they are very similar. And you'll notice a lot of signs are like that. I won't go into those signs. I've got stories about all of them, but I'm not going to do it. But a lot of signs are like that, to where they're very similar, and just the smallest change in direction or movement can have a different meaning behind it. So just something to kind of keep in mind. That's why I always tell people, when I teach people sign, one of my biggest pet peeves is sloppy signers or lazy hands, where their hands are very like, I can't describe it. They're just very like floopy, like the way they're signed. Because the smallest, if you changes the meaning. I had one person that I was helping. I'm like, girl, you need to buy some like wrist brace or something to keep them suckers tight, and keep just rigid when you sign. Just be very clear and precise. But anyways, that's my tangent. But that's kind of something just to kind of keep in mind. There are those variants like that. What?
Richard's floppy.
It's just like, yeah. I'm trying to like go through. I'm like, it's every time I read it, it moves. Where'd it go? There it is. How do you sign whoops? Like whoops, wait, or hold up, I messed up a sign. There's a few fun ways to do it. Like if you're finger spelling, I have a few friends who do this. He used to do it, and you misspell something or do something right. I have a few friends who will go smack, and they'll smack their own hand like and then do it again, like their hand is like a separate entity, and they like had to like whip it into shape. Like seriously, what's wrong with you? So you could do that. I have some people who like imagine they're writing on a giant whiteboard when they're signing, and they mess up and they're like, oh, and like they erase themselves almost. So there's a few ways you could do it, especially if you're wanting to be a little more comical about like your signing's not. Oh, that's not right. It's up to you. For the sign wait, like I'm signing. Wait, I'll do that. I'll go wait, and like kind of reevaluate myself. No, what I mean is da da da. But you can say wait or hold on. I gotta fix that. There's a few ways you can do it, but yeah, I wouldn't stress so much about how exactly to do it, because like I said, there's like 1,000 ways people correct themselves, erase themselves, or whatever they're gonna do. My ASL teacher smacks her hand away too. It's just one of the yeah. Please explain why the sign for brother and sister are so confusing. It's because what happens is it's feminine versus masculine. So here is feminine, here is masculine. Same like mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, sister, brother. So it's just one of those things you kind of have to keep in mind. You have the feminine, which is down below, and the masculine that is up high.
And also too, because there's few variations to that, like really simple signs, right? Because there's like sometimes it's
girl, sister.
Well, like daughter. Sorry, like son and daughter. Like there's son and daughter, or there's boy, baby, girl, baby. And then like brothers and sisters, like there's different ways. And I encourage you to look up which video was it? I think Bill Vickers he was just doing like family signs. He's like, oh, this is like 3 different ways to sign brother. So like some will do this, some will have it come out like this, some will keep their L's open. And so there are a lot of different variations for like simple signs, and we kind of want to attach to just the one way, but it is good to become familiar with a variety of ways to sign even simple things, because those varieties are definitely out there. Hopefully we don't have to cut this short tonight. Okay, so the pronoun they. So this can be very context-based. So usually it's they, and it's that pointer, right? So this is you or he or she, but they would be outwards. You could also do this sign if you're addressing like an audience for you all. I've seen some, I guess, like for the southern word y'all, I've seen y'all. It's not really an official sign, but it's just kind of one of those that gets thrown around. But yeah, those are just a few ways to sign that. Oh, love the shirt, by the way. Thanks. Let's see here. Sorry to keep asking this. Let me just go ahead and read it. Sorry, I keep asking this, but I don't know if you saw it or not. If someone says a fancier word that you didn't know the sign for, would you interpret it as an easier word with the same meaning or fingerspell it? Okay, that's actually a really good question. And so that really depends on the situation. So if you were, let's say, like a fancier word, like maybe you're interpreting for a physics class, and they have this really fancy word for I don't know.
Don't look at me for that word.
But like I don't know, like osmosis, or you have like maybe like something like atom, and maybe they're talking about quarks. And now you have to break that atom apart. So like here are the electrons, here's the nucleus, and then you can like break that up into like protons and neutrons. And there's other signs for that too, by the way. ASLcore.org, if you ever have to interpret, or if you want to learn more STEM signs, like for the science and math and technology and stuff like that, that's a really good resource. And I think I have it listed in the description. But anyways, so like some signs are really cool. So this one is just to get nerdy really quick. So sign language can be a really cool way to show things that are much more visual and can kind of be hard to explain. And so, for instance, that sign for atom. So you have the nucleus, and then you have the electrons. But you notice it's not electrons, right? And so this is something that is much more picturesque, or much more visualization of how an atom actually operates. And so atoms, like the electrons, they don't orbit a nucleus like planets orbit the sun. That's not how. So they actually have valence shells. And so just for example, like a hydrogen atom has one neutron, one proton, and then one electron. But that electron doesn't go around like this. It pops in and out of existence in this kind of sphere of probability.
I hate you. Why do you do this to me?
Sorry.
He like throws out all these like crazy words like 1,000 miles an hour, and I'm like, we'll never know.
So I probably should try to SimCom this if I can, because I end up doing a lot of interpret some science classes.
I'm a medical interpreter. I don't do science. So he's like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know, guys.
That is a really good illustration of what the original question was. It's like, if there's a fancier word, do you end up using a sign that is simpler, but still kind of has the same meaning? You know what a better example would be is if you're interpreting this. This is the sign for paper, but the context in which it's used and who is using that will kind of dictate what word you would assign it in English. Are you talking about a kindergartner and they're bringing their paper? Or are you talking to a lawyer going into the courtroom and they have documents? It's the exact same sign, but you end up assigning either basic or more fancier, high-level words for that same sign. And so that can be a good example to just kind of answer that question.
I have Okay, so how do I sign the pronoun they?
Already.
As if
Who doesn't like the pronoun he or she? Oh, okay. Yeah, so that one I would actually go ahead and do a little research on. There are a few versions of that, and yeah, I would YouTube or go to a YouTube search it, and you'll find those signs. And there's entire channels that are kind of dedicated to just those.
They do have some. I know.
I think Rogan Shannon is one of those channels. I can't remember if that's the right name, but that'd be a good one.
There are a lot of new signs coming out for that.
And they do change.
The pronouns, he, she, they, but it's changed. There's other terminologies for that too. Can't think of it off the top of my head because I wasn't prepared for it. But those types of words and how it is changing, how somebody doesn't want to be referred to as Mr. or Mrs. or he or she or whatever, and they want to have it changed. There are signs for that are being created. I don't know those signs off the top of my head, but it is there. It is something that is being produced right now.
Yeah, and I mean, usually they're kind of gender neutral anyways, just because you point to the person. You don't necessarily say she or he. Usually you just end up pointing to the person that you're referring to, and the pronoun kind of takes care of itself. If that person's a woman or a man or anything in between, then that just pronoun takes care of itself. But there are more specific signs that are being created in that community, so I would check in with that community.
You had somebody who asked where this.
For the shirt.
Yeah, and it's not. You don't have a banner for it. There's a link in the YouTube. No, you don't. You have but you don't have. Well, there's if you see in the YouTube, if you scroll down, you'll see the shirts that are there. If there's a shirt that you like, if you click it, you can get it from there. But the website is called Teespring. Hold on, he has to look because you have to do certain things with it.
Okay, so here's the. Oops, let me get rid of the HTTPS stuff.
Okay.
So this is the link. The easiest way is just if you're watching this on YouTube, there's actually a little shelf that has the different T-shirt designs.
I just bought mine too. I'm so excited. Not this one.
She bought the Learn Every Day.
Learn Every Day. I love that shirt. And he bought one for himself, but he didn't think of me. I was like, hey, I want one. He's like, oh, sorry. And I'm like, But yeah. Oh, I love that shirt. Oh my God.
Okay, let's do the third name.
I can't see.
So the third name, I'm gonna do a little faster, and let's make it 6 letters. Yeah. Okay. Ready?
Hey, Mommy. Hey.
It took me a second. I got it.
Okay, so I'll do it one more time. And I'll do it one more time a little bit slower.
Wait, no.
Okay.
Oh,
so,
I wasn't looking. Oh, it's because nothing's come up yet. Just go over here.
Boom.
Oh, bam, there it is. Right.
Okay,
right.
So that's like the first person. Hey, Zakira.
Zakira Torres. Congratulations.
There we go.
There it is.
Okay, and
Charles.
So yeah, the answer was Charles. And again, go ahead and send me an email at this email address, chris@aslbasics.com, and I'll send you the link for the Zoom link for the workshop for next Friday at 5. Okay. Any more questions? And I do apologize. We're getting a lot of comments, and we try to keep up, and we try to answer every single question we can.
If we don't get to you, drop
feel
it
free
again.
to go ahead and
drop
comment
it again because every time I go to look up, I'll lose it. So I'm trying to, definitely. Okay. I'm going back up. I'm going through all your guys' comments. Sorry. Did that one? I think we're caught up.
Here's a good one. How long does it take to learn sign? That's a really good question to ask, and the answer is it depends. It mostly depends on how serious you want to take it and how often and how much time you have to dive into it. If you are somebody that really wants to learn it and you really dive into the community and you're using it and you're putting yourself out there and you're going outside your comfort zone and you're watching videos and you're talking and having those conversations, you can pick it up pretty quick. Like for ourselves, we were going to sign language meetings twice a week, and those meetings were an hour and a half a piece. And then we would go to conventions and assemblies that were all in sign language, and we would meet deaf from all over the country, sometimes from other countries as well. And those were an incredible way to really go outside your comfort zone and put yourself out there and really force yourself to use what you have been learning. And so for us, about 6 months, we felt really comfortable. In about a year, we felt very proficient. And then since then, it's just been building upon those skills. And I think we began interpreting professionally after like like 5 or 6 years later, we ended up starting interpreting professionally. And even then, like to this day, we are still learning and still expanding our knowledge of the language and keeping up with all the changes.
For example, his science terms. That's not me. Like he's all. See, I don't
yeah,
know.
like
That's the only one I remember.
One of the things that
It's
and one of the things that like we also will mentor other interpreters, and that's one of the things that we really encourage is to not only become familiar with the other variations in the new signs that are coming out, but also really figure out what signs like your students or your clients are using, because again, like that communication is really the most important. Like I might know the most up-to-date sign, but if that student is more comfortable and just is more familiar with another way, I'm going to change and I'm going to match that person. I'm going to match that student, because comprehension is much more important than like being correct or having the most up-to-date sign. But it's good to continually learn and expand. And this day you stop learning, it really you begin to suffer as an interpreter, and just your language abilities kind of start sliding. But anyways, one example I use is like for molecule. So this is it's an English initialized sign. So it's using the M from the English word molecule. But there's also molecule, and then there's also molecule. Or a really cool one is a hydrocarbon, which is it's a carbon atom and then 4 hydrogen atoms. And so there are like very specific signs for very specific like molecules, or there's general signs. And it's good to expand and learn variations, but it's more important to really understand and kind of set up like what sign you're going to use going forward, especially like if you're working in a team. So that's something that we really encourage our interpreters to do. Go ahead.
I'm going to give you a simpler one that actually would be used. And that's the changing signs for culture and family. There it is. So this is family. We all learned it as family, but family has changed to family. But where you are or how you're learning it, they might not utilize it this way because it trickles down. Signs change, and then eventually it trickles down. Like this used to be who. This is how I learned it. Who. That's not who no more. Now it's who, or who, however you want to do it. Who. So family has turned to family. Now, if I was working or talking to a deaf person and I did this and the deaf person went, what? Oh, family. Just because this is the newest sign doesn't mean that I'm me, family. You gotta have to learn. No, because it takes time. Or culture is now changed to culture. Pretty cool, right? But yeah, so there's those variations of sign. I don't even know how we got on that subject. Oh, how do you sign what is your name? So how do you sign what is your name? What is your name? Okay, so your name what? Your name what?
Or you name what you.
Yeah, you name what you. There's that one. There's kind of a few ways you could do it, but the easiest one is your name what? Or I've seen your name what's up. or name. There's variations to it. There's no like one right way. It's just like name. Come on, things like that. How to? Wait a minute. If you're wanting to be an interpreter,
that's a really good question.
If you're wanting to be an interpreter, should you pick it? Hold on, my elbow fell off the desk like a dork. If you're wanting to become an interpreter, should you pick a subject area before becoming an interpreter so that you mainly learn those signs? Well, a lot of times you don't really know what you want to do until you get in it. When I first started interpreting, I was an educational interpreter, and it wasn't until I did it for a little while that I realized I hate it. I am not an educational interpreter at all. I know what to do. I know the laws. I'm good at it, but I don't enjoy it. I'm a medical interpreter. That's what I do. Where he's the opposite. He's an educational interpreter to the max, as you can tell, with all his fancy terms. But he doesn't really like to dabble in medical. He's like, So sometimes you can, hey.
Getting crazy.
Sometimes you don't know what you want to do until you dive into it.
Yeah, we can play hide and seek later.
Most of the time, people start out in education. I've noticed it's the easiest to get into, and it's the less intimidating. Okay, you want to take her and Charlie to the other room?
Sure.
It's the less intimidating to do.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back, guys. She's just letting you know. It's the least intimidating to do. Where medical can be very, very intimidating. There's a lot of terminology there. There's a lot of things there. So it's just one of those things. So it kind of just depends. It depends on what you want to do. You all right?
The trouble with my knees, like it's starting to feel really normal, and so I start doing normal things. But then, like if I twist or sit too fast or get up too fast, then like I suddenly realize, like, oh yeah, I did just have surgery 2 weeks ago.
But your physical therapist wants you to. He had knee surgery a couple weeks ago, but he's doing good.
Anyways, go ahead.
But okay.
This one?
Yeah. Any tips on getting your child to learn ASL faster? So I'll tell you, with children, they will learn faster than you. They're like, yeah. So, but there's some resources out there that are really helpful for children. One of them is Signing Time. Rachel Coleman. Oh, loved Signing Time. When my mom was first learning sign language, my mom and my dad, they watched Signing Time. And they have songs and like these cartoon things. And Rachel Coleman does a really amazing job. It's very engaging, very interactive. And you just have to keep it in front of them. Like they have to, just like how we have to do it every day over and over again. But getting something that makes kids like, ooh, like that draws their attention. And nowadays it's really easy because they like the colors and the shows and the music and things like that helps them progress in any language. Well, sign language is the same thing, and Rachel Coleman does an amazing job with that. So Signing Time is a really good one.
Yeah, and also we do have like a list on our website of just free ASL resources, and we have a lot of ones listed like that for like ASL games and documentaries and movies and TV shows and stuff that's good for kids. So I always leave a link for that page in the description of the videos. But if you want to go to aslbasics.com, it's also an easy way to kind of find that list of resources.
Right there.
This one?
Yes. Click it. How about husbands? I have now begun to talk and sign to him. Same thing. I'm telling you, the more you use it, like if you practice sim-comming, signing and talking at the same time, he's going to slowly pick up signs. He's going to watch you do it. And eventually, like Chris always says, the brain loves patterns. And if you keep doing it and he's watching you do it, his brain's going to pick up on the pattern that every time you say this word, it's associated with this sign. And without him realizing it, he's going to start to understand before he even realizes that he's understanding. And it's just one of those things that our brain naturally does. And you can do that with any language, Spanish, French, Chinese, what have you. You can do that with any language, and your brain will pick up on the pattern. It's actually kind of fascinating.
I saw one that was kind of a, let's see here. As a terp, can you pick if you want to interpret for certain events, like Johnny doing science events?
So, okay. It depends on where you work, to be 100% honest with you. So for the company that I work for, I'm the lead interpreter. My job is to set the example and to train and stuff. So I don't really have a choice. I don't enjoy science events. If I knew in advance, like my boss was like, guess what you're doing? And I'm like, oh, bummer. And it's going to be science, which is something that, you know, I got street smarts. Okay. I don't got the book smarts, but you know, I would prepare ahead of time, and I would kind of think, what are they going to be talking about? What's the theme? And kind of prepare the signs. Like if it was all about like what he was saying, the nucleus and things and whatever, I would go to aslcore.org and I would start researching those signs and mentally preparing myself for them. So, but as like an independent contractor, if a job comes up and it's like, hey, it's to interpret this science lecture, you'd be like, nope, no thanks. I don't get that privilege. But other interpreters, they can. You can do that if you're like an independent contractor. It just kind of depends on your company. But yeah, and that's happened where I've had to interpret a biology class. Lord help me. I'm like, gosh, I wish I knew what some of these words meant because I don't. But yeah, it's just one of those things. But
Okay, we're starting to run out of time, so I'm going to do name number 4 and name number 5 back to back.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, so name number 4. Are you guys ready? Okay, this is going to be.
Oh, I know a name.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. Okay, ready? Here we go. Oof. You guys getting tired? Let's do it again.
One more time.
One more time.
Bam. There it is.
Somebody got it?
Yep. Cassandra Tadlock.
Cassandra Tadlock. All right. There we go. Where are you?
Let's get right there.
Oh, way up there. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Very good. Samantha.
Okay, and then we have a lot of other people that got it too. Really good. Really good. Wow. Right. So many. You guys are doing awesome tonight.
I picked that one because it was long. Because he was like, let's do a 6-letter one. And I'm like, what's a longer one? I'm like, ooh.
Okay, so last one. Oh, and I already forgot the name. Cassandra. So go ahead and send me an email to that chris@aslbasics.com, and I'll go ahead and send you that Zoom link and the password for our workshop next Friday. And the last name is going to be this.
Oh, cheeky booger.
One more. Okay, and I'll do it one more time. Yep. And you guys
Very
are
good.
fired.
Joyce B. Joyce B. Excellent. Christopher. I was like, you cheeky bugger, you used your own name.
11 letters, baby.
So very good. Joyce B. So again, where is it? Oh, it's still up there.
Oh, whoops.
So yeah, shoot us an email. That way we have your information, and then he can go ahead and send you that link. And that is going to be for January 29th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And just letting you guys know, we are going to be doing another 7-day boot camp. That will happen probably the last week of February. We're going to announce that official date next Wednesday, the 27th. And then you're going to be that registration will open that night. January 27th, we will open registration for the 7-day boot camp. And what that will look like is Monday through Friday, and then the following Monday, Tuesday, the weekends are off. But it'll all be on Zoom, so it'll be live. We'll see you, you'll see us. And then we will do a 30-minute group practice. You'll go into breakout rooms and you'll practice with people at your skill level. And then when you come back, we'll do the same kind of thing like this, but we'll be able to see you. And he has topics for each night. It'll, grammar, classifiers, vocabulary, how to not be discouraged. He'll have a list of topics that he's going to discuss, and it's open for you guys to ask questions. And then he'll have daily challenges. He sets up things on Facebook, a specific group designed for that 7-day challenge. He'll have challenges, resources every day, and themes. So this is what you guys are going to, talk about in the group practice and kind of, help you guys out with that. So it'll be super fun. We'll have a lot more information on that. And then, yeah, that's going to be next Wednesday. We'll announce the official date for that, and then registration for that will open. I'm trying to think if there is anything else that is coming up.
Yeah, and if you weren't one of the 5 that got it tonight, and you still want to join, again, that's the workshop is something that we hold for free for all of the VIP members on all the different platforms. So if that's something that you want to go ahead and jump into, go ahead and sign up for it, and you'll get all the corresponding information on how to join. And the workshop itself is going to be really how to take your learning up to the next level. And we're going to be incorporating some group practice as well, like we do on Wednesdays. And we'll also be have that open Q&A available for everybody. And I wasn't going to announce it yet, but for that VIP program that we have, one of the things that has been requested most of us is for additional group practice sessions.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know you were going to talk about that either.
So every week for the past 9 months or so, we've been holding free group practice sessions on Zoom. Yeah.
April. It'll be a year in
Crazy.
April.
And that's been one of the things that really can help others to network with other learners and to really kind of put into practice what you've been learning. And so for the VIPs, we're going to do that every Friday at 5 o'clock as well. And so that's going to start in February. So we got a lot of stuff coming up, and we're really excited about it. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out to me on social media, or you can send me an email at chris@aslbasics.com. And let me see here. Yeah, very exciting year.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to announce it yet, but I do have one other big thing coming up. I just finished filming, and it's on to editing.
Yeah.
So
that's gonna be cool. And it's
more details hopefully this weekend, if at the latest next Wednesday.
It's the start of multiple things that are going to come with it. But yeah, that's true. He'll announce it as soon as it's done. He doesn't want to say it yet.
Thanks.
But he will. He's going to announce after. I'm like, what? What are you doing? Oh, that. Yes. That's a process all by itself that he's been working on for like the last couple of months. You've been working on this and getting it set up and ready. So super excited about that. We'll tell you guys. Yeah, we could probably announce that next week too. You should be finishing with that.
I should be finished with that. I'm going to work really hard on it.
We'll announce that one next week. Ooh, stay tuned.
Before we go, I want to answer this one. What if you don't have time to practice prior to interpreting if you are given like a 2-hour notice? Miss Science Giant.
Oh, snap. Well, yeah.
So for myself, like I've been called for like last minute medical jobs, and depending on what it is, I'm like, oh, well, how do you sign that particular surgery, or how do you sign that particular like dialysis machine? Like, oh, I haven't learned dialysis machine yet. And so like there's been times where like I'm researching just prior to an appointment, just because I want to be as prepared as I possibly can. Because interpreting is a really important job, and that's one thing that you do not want to get wrong. And so you definitely want to go into it as prepared as you possibly can. Even if you're just in the waiting room and that's all the time you have to prepare it, take advantage of every moment you can. Mm-hmm. And if you can, like show up early to those kinds of appointments and, try to meet the client a little bit before their appointment and kind of get to know their style and become comfortable with how they sign and really kind of get that familiarity going, and that can really go a long ways.
That's true.
Towards clear and concise
medical
communication.
Is a very Like I said, that's my focus. That's my career. I love medical interpreting, but it can be very intimidating because you're like a doctor. Their life is in your hands because you can't mess up.
Yeah.
If you misinterpret or you don't say something, yeah, it's its own thing. So I won't go into that. But yeah, somebody was asking about your VIP. Will it be for everyone or just VIP people? How do you become a VIP member?
Okay, so becoming VIP. So I have that set up on YouTube and Patreon, and also offer it through our Beyond the Basics program. So all three of those, if you just sign up for one, then you have access to everything. So it's workshops every month, and starting in February, we'll have group practice sessions every Friday at 5 o'clock. We also have exclusive classes and videos and extra things just as a thank you for everybody that has been able to support us. And it's because of your support that we've been able to actually create more content. And we're continually trying to create a better experience for all of you. So we're upping the quality on like the live streams, and we're upping the quality of videos. And I'm going to try really hard this year to put out 3 videos a week, and hold me accountable to that. So I'm going to do the best I can.
It's out there now. It's out there now. You said it. Too late. Too late. Wait. I thought there was something else that somebody asked, and I can't find it. Oh, thank you.
We really appreciate all of you too, and some of you we've known for a year or more, so that's great.
You're right, Mark.
Really quick before we run out of time. Wait, was that the one? Oh no, that wasn't the one I was looking at. Is time tapping your fist? So it's actually where your watch would be. Time. Where was it? Oh, is it important that my child repeat the sign in order to learn it? It definitely helps. It's getting late for us. This is why we only limit it to an hour.
But it does help.
It does help, yeah. If your child is really young, we started signing to our daughter the day she was born.
Literally the day she was born.
Obviously, she's not going to be able to, produce the signs at that age. But constantly being exposed to it, and we would sim-com a lot with her, oh, you hungry, you thirsty, you want milk. And so, again, it's that word and sign association, and that can really help kind of build the foundation for signing to them later. And, as early as, maybe 2 years, we could just turn our voices off and just have a sign language conversation with her. And so children, if you expose them to enough, they'll absorb it, and their brains are literally primed and ready to learn languages.
It's true. Right now we're working on Spanish for ourselves. We've been on and off learning Spanish for 20 years. No joke, 20 years. And we've got he's better than I am. But for my daughter, our daughter, she'll be 3 next week. Oh Lord, look out. We're exposing her for the first time to Spanish because we're wanting her to learn Spanish for a reason that we will tell you at a later date, because something really exciting is going to happen hopefully this year, but I doubt it thanks to COVID. But if not, anyways, we'll go over that later, but it is getting late. So it was great being with you guys tonight. Again, we will see you next Wednesday for the live stream. Chris will be sending out the emails and everything. He'll be posting on social media as reminders for all. And if you guys, sign up for the Beyond the Basics or whatever, you'll have access to the VIP and everything that's going to be coming on with that. So I hope you guys have a good evening. It was good being with you guys, and we will see you guys next week, next Wednesday, or no, I'm right. Yeah, next Wednesday. All right. Good night, guys.